Okay, we're here for Coach Hoiberg for today's media availability. I'll start there with Chris Bassnett.
Hey Fred, after watching the film the other night and going through a couple days of practice, any thoughts on any lineup changes for tomorrow? Or are you just going to stick with what you've been doing so far?
As of right now, we'll start the same way going into the next one. And as I said after the game the other night, for the most part, our starters have gotten us off to good starts. And the last game, obviously, that was not the case. And we made changes right away, and the bench went out, and I thought was phenomenal. And some of that may be due to a little bit of the fatigue that we have going on with our team right now. But that bench I thought deserved to start in the second half of that game and played really good basketball all the way through. So our guys understand the importance of getting off to good starts. It's a huge factor if you're going to be in the game late or not. But our bench saved us and gave us an opportunity the other night, and then. When I looked down the stretch at execution, even though we had the drought, I thought we had some really good looks. And, unfortunately, we just didn't knock down shots that I thought actually might have been better looks than the ones we were knocking down in the first half. And two of our, guys that we feel really good about shooting shots, had great looks at the basket. They just, unfortunately, didn't go in, and then Purdue started making everything. And, that's when they really extended their lead. But, talked to our guys about not getting deflated, continuing to go out. We've had some really good stretches of basketball. We had some really good things that happened the other night. Unfortunately, when it mattered most, they made the plays.
I got Sam McEwen next.
Hey, Fred, I asked this question of Thor on Saturday, and I'll ask the same of you. Given everything that has happened this season, with the injuries early and some of the guys out from COVID and obviously Derek Walker being suspended and then the whole COVID pause, do you feel like you've gotten a true look at your team, like that you've gotten an opportunity to really see what they can be? And is there any chance that in the last 6-7 games here of the season, you're going to get that opportunity and you can make sort of a fuller evaluation of what you have?
Well, I hope so, Sam. A lot of teams have had similar things that happen to us. I don't know if they've been quite to the extreme that we had. I don't think anybody has been put in a position where, basically their whole rotation got shut down and got the virus in the middle of the season and then had their bodies deconditioned like we did. Michigan had a long shutdown, but I don't think they had any positive cases in that time. And, obviously had a little bit more time to prepare than we did as far as the stretch that we played. But, it's something where, Sam, it just one of those years where it is what it is, and you just got to do the best you can with the hand you're dealt. And we're going to continue to go out there and battle and fight. And I've given my guys credit all year long for going out there. And I think of 10 of the 15 losses, we've had the game within 7 points with under 10 minutes to go. We've had most games where we've been competitive, been right there, and unfortunately we just have not been able to close it. And some of that may have to do with the things that have happened to our team this year. But, we still have however many games we're going to have left, whether that's 6, 7, 8, and we're going to go down swinging, and we're going to keep fighting and keep battling. We got a tough stretch coming up with 4 and 8. Starting with tomorrow's game, I thought Penn State was phenomenal yesterday against Iowa. I really thought they battled them. It's what they do. It's, the effort that they play with. Looking back at the first time we played them, we had 32 really good minutes of basketball and found a way to continue to defend when we were having our struggles on the offensive end of the floor, and that's what allowed us to, to get the win, at their place. But we know they're going to come in and battle and fight, and Jim Ferry's done a terrific job with this group, continuing to get them to go out and compete. So it's going to be a game, for our guys. We don't have much time to. Get out on the floor and correct. We had yesterday off. Today, we did get them up and down a little bit, but, you can tell there still is some fatigue, and I got to find a way to keep them fresh where they have legs on the floor in those 40 minutes. But, it's going to take a full effort from everybody. Last game, as I said, our bench, I thought Trey was really good, but our bench was the ones that gave us a chance.
Thank you.
Rex Smith.
Fred, I'm curious, even without a lineup change, that group that had some real success, Trey and the 4 bench guys, is that a group that you want to see maybe get some more minutes together going forward, see if they can kind of replicate that?
Yeah, absolutely. They'll get opportunity to go out there and play. It's a team that plays together. When we go, our first group versus our second group, obviously we're not getting a lot of time to do that right now. We're focusing more on playing on against the scout team with trying to put the game plan in and defend those actions. But yeah, those guys, I really liked what I saw. And the biggest thing was the movement and the unselfishness and making the extra pass. We weren't holding the ball. And that's what created a lot of good shots. Thor, getting to the baseline, making that hammer pass to the corner. We had a couple threes on that, and that group just had really good confidence, I thought, and good pop on both ends of the floor. And, I did like what I saw. So, yeah, absolutely. Those guys will certainly get a chance to play together. And then, I think Delano fits well with that group as well when Trey needs a break because of his ability to pass. And, we got to get him going again. So, that's a group that's got floor spacers and spreaders and good guys that really move and understand the offense. So that's the thing I was most pleased with that group is just how well they played together and played off of each other.
Jacob Padilla?
Derek was a big part of the first time he played against Penn State and Illinois, and he's foul trouble and other circumstances have kind of limited his playing time in the last few games. One, how important is he going to be to kind of get a little bit more out of him if you can? And then two, how have you changed kind of some of the things you've tried to do offensively when he's out there compared to what you were doing earlier in the season?
Yeah, Derek is, he's a big part of what we got going into next year. And, when we first came back from the shutdown, I thought specifically Illinois game and we really battled Kofi, and then the Penn State game where, he made those winning plays, even though Teddy made the basket, Derek was the guy on the floor getting that loose ball, that 50-50 ball, and then made the great play with verticality on the last play of the game, to get that stop to get us the win. And, he's been up and down with his conditioning. And, again, you just don't know exactly what it is, but, he gets pretty winded out there within the first couple minutes. You notice I sub him generally within the first 2 or 3 minutes of the game. And that's because he's still working his way back. And then sometimes he'll get his second win better than other times. Illinois and Penn State were two of those games where I thought he did. And then he's battled foul trouble out there as well, which has limited some of his minutes on the floor also. The biggest thing I met with Derek this morning was just go out there, focus on defending and rebounding. Just go out there and fly around and do everything you can, play as long as you can, as hard as you can. And when you need a break, we'll get him out and get him back in, but foul trouble certainly has limited his minutes. As far as offensively, what we're trying to do, you've seen Derek's feel, in the high post. He's done a really good job making backdoor passes and reads. His face-up drive with his left hand, where he's had some good finishes. We got to get him going on the block a little bit, especially when teams switch. And we ran a couple actions for him to get him the ball on the block late in the Penn State game, and we'll continue to do that. As these as the season winds down. But Derek, for sitting out for the 2 years that he did with a suspension and in the redshirt year on the transfer, it's going to take some time, and hopefully with a full summer and a full preseason next year where you can get your timing, get your conditioning right, and hopefully having this COVID thing behind us, we should be in a better place to play more consistent minutes.
Kevin Sids?
Fred, your win at Penn State was just, 8-9 days ago. How much do you guys talk about, you beat the team and it wasn't that long ago, and do you guys use that as a source to maybe change the mindset or give yourself a little bit of oomph going into Tuesday's matchup?
Well, we watched an edit on it this morning, some of the things that we did well excuse me, throughout the course of that game, especially early, and then some of the things that we struggled with late, and some of the things that they did defensively to us that they switched up from what they did in the first half, and how we're going to counter that this time when we go out and play them. And obviously they'll do the same. It's what you do when you play the same team in a short time span like we are with this one. And again, they've got a lot of things. They'll play some zone. They've got their 1-2-2 press. It's about going out and attacking it, and when we don't get it, the flow that we're going to have once we get the ball into the front court. But, it's the biggest thing for us, Kevin, we just got to come out and play with great effort. When we do that, we've given ourselves a chance And again, when you look at the numbers of where we've been under 10 minutes in all these games, you know, a lot of that's because of how hard that we've played. And, you know, again, we have not finished games the way we need to this year. And again, some of that's the circumstances that we've had with what we've dealt with, but, you know, that's when we got to find a way to continue to execute all the way through to the final horn, which, you know, again, we defended maybe as well as we did all year in those last 10 minutes against Penn State. The effort, consistency, Illinois was as good as it's been all year. Indiana, before the shutdown, you know, may have been our most complete offensive game from start to finish. You know, but yeah, it'd be nice to get a little, you know, rhythm, momentum, the 40 minutes that I talk about all the time, the consistency of where we are and what we're trying to accomplish. It's got to be better. And, you know, hopefully we'll get that effort tomorrow, that 40-minute consistent effort from our guys.
We'll go two more. Connor Happer.
Feels like you guys have been able to generate some pretty good looks, and there were definitely some in that Purdue game. But generally throughout the whole season, not being able to knock those, the good looks down consistently, is that fatigue? Is that rhythm? How do you kind of look at that?
Yeah, I think some of it's fatigue. I think some of it honestly is confidence. You know, especially early on with some of the guys that were struggling earlier. It's great to see Thor. I think he's shooting 45% in his last 5, 46%. Shamil, 4 for his last 7. You know, starting to knock down shots. Kobe shooting the ball much better than he was earlier in the year. Some of the guys that are struggling right now that were heavy minute guys, that are heavy minute guys, you know, maybe due more to fatigue. And, you know, our bench guys that maybe haven't played as many minutes, you know, are giving us a little burst right now. And that may have to do because they're a little fresher than those other guys. But yeah, you know, I mean, you try to generate those looks within the offense, and, you know, hopefully you knock down more than you miss, and we haven't done that this year. And then obviously, you know, what we haven't addressed so far today is the free throw shooting. I mean, you missed 9 of them. You know, you make 2 of those, 3 of those down the stretch of the Illinois game. You beat a top 5 team in the league, and, you know, we've had multiple times where if you just knock your free throws down at a decent clip and an average clip, you're going to be there at the end of the game. As opposed to being down 8, you might be a 3-point game or a 2-point game, and you have a chance to win it. And those are all important. And then our layups. We were 9 for 20 at the restricted area again. And, you know, we do finishing drills daily with our team. You know, I'd like to challenge anybody to say they shoot more than we do in practice. That's our practice right now, is shooting, finishing, you know, trying to get a rhythm going where we can knock down those looks when they present themselves. But, you know, it's what you try to get out of your system is to generate open looks. And I thought, again, in those last 10 minutes of Purdue, even though we weren't scoring, I thought we generated a lot of really good shots. Unfortunately, they just didn't go down, and that happens.
Okay, last question, Sam McEwen.
Hey, Fred, when it comes to analytics, what are 2 or 3 categories that your eye immediately goes to? Not necessarily after a game, but just over the course of a week or a season. What do you look at right away?
Well, I think one thing, Sam, on the offensive end is effective field goal percentage, and, you know, we're just not we don't have a very good effective field goal percentage right now, and, you know, again, that has to do with, you know, our 3-point shooting has not been, you know, great to say the least this year. So, you know, that's one thing where if you have a high effective field goal percentage, then, you know, you're gonna have a pretty darn good chance to win the game. I always look at the shot distribution, where we're getting our shots, where we're giving up our shots after games, and, you know, did we follow what we were supposed to do? Did we run the shooters off the line and force them into the mid-range, or taking it to the basket? You know, especially those guys that shoot 85, 90% of their shots from the 3-point line as far as giving them airspace. You know, did we get more attempts in the paint? You know, the we've shot more free throws than our opponents this year, and we've won 1 game. That's just incredible to me when you can outshoot your opponent. That's a huge stat to look at. It's not really an analytics stat, but, you know, you look at it from, you know, the standpoint of, you know, that's effort to me, getting that thing into the paint. And, you know, for us, is that a great thing right now, the way we're shooting free throws? I don't know, but, you know, they should be free points for your team. But, you know, the effective field goal percentage is a huge one on the offensive end, and we're not good enough in that area.
Now under press conference, Coach Hoiberg. We'll come back with player here shortly. Come, Mike.